Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. So I have decided to kind of change up the front end of my M3. Currently I'm running M Performance splitters and a Autotechnic CS style front lip. I've loved this look. I think it looks great. It reminds me a lot of the E46 as well as the E9X generation with the splitters where each side kind of had that little fang look. That's kind of what this CS style front lip reminded me of. Super high quality, really love this lip. But there's a big reason as to why I decided to change it up. My main goal was actually to change up the splitters. So as you can see, the passenger side splitter is starting to yellow. Now these are OEM M Performance carbon splitters, and over time, if they're not properly cared for, the gel coating, the clear coat that is on them can yellow over time. It's pretty natural with any type of carbon, depending on what type of gel coat that they put on top. If you don't take care of it, it can happen. This happened prior to my ownership, obviously, because I've only had the car for a year, and I noticed it right away that it was a little bit yellow, but ever since putting the front lip on, you can really see the difference, and it kind of has been bothering me. The driver's side is okay. It's not yellow, or it's not as yellow as this one. But my main plan was to just replace the splitters and, you know, keep the lip. But I was like, you know what? I have to remove the front lip anyway to get the splitters off since they're drilled through the bottom. Let's go ahead and change up the front look. We can keep this one for a spare. If the new lip that I'm gonna show you in a second end up breaking or whatnot, I can always throw this one back on, and it can kind of be like a spare lip. But it's held up very, very well over the year that I've had it. There's no rock chips or anything like that, and it still looks really good. I definitely have scraped underneath. There's actually these little kind of tabs underneath. That is what I scrape on. The actual bottom of the lip is nice and smooth. There's no scratches or anything, which is pretty surprising considering how low I am. But I decided to not only pick up some nice splitters from Horizon Motorsport. So as you can see, full carbon all the way through. Look really good. The weave is really nice. And I did a quick little test fit on them, and they seem to be pretty darn good. So I'm excited to get those on. But I also, as I mentioned, am changing up the lip. So if we look over here, this is the Horizon Motorsport J-style carbon fiber front lip. Now, a couple things that I like about this style lip is that, one, it still has the ducting just like the CS style. So it kind of has that air duct that you can see through, which I really like. This also has the provisions for the splitters here. So the other one that I'm running currently did not have that. So it was a little bit harder to kind of fit on and kind of get it situated. But this, as you can see, has a indent of where it should go exactly. So it's going to be much easier to kind of place and get into position properly. One of the things I wasn't crazy about the CS style was the bump ins, even though I did like that look on previous generations with the splitters. I think that the F80 generation looks better with a one kind of unison lip, and this is exactly what that is. It's just one kind of even line all the way across, and it flows with the bumper nicely. And also there's a little bit more carbon up front here, whereas the CS kind of bumps in, kind of cuts across up high, and then goes back down on the other side, where this is just fully carbon across, which is really nice. Also, it also has like a second lip on it in a way. It's almost like a splitter underneath the lip, which is a look that I've always liked. I thought it always looked cool. And personally, I think this is one of the better looking front lips for the F80 generation, F80X. And I've always wanted it. So I decided to pick it up. The one thing about this one comparing to the Autotechnic one is that the Autotechnic is full carbon fiber, but if you look on the bottom here, this one is just fiberglass underneath with carbon laid on top, which, to be completely honest, I'm okay with that. The reason why I'm okay with that is because this lip is legitimately as close to the ground as it possibly can get anywhere on the car. So if I do end up scraping this one, which I most likely will, it won't be the end of the world. I'm not going to be that bent up about it. And fiberglass personally holds up a little bit better, in my opinion, than carbon, because once carbon splinters, it kind of shatters and spider cracks throughout the whole entire lip or any carbon piece. So having the fiberglass underneath, I think, is going to hold up a little bit better. Plus, this one wasn't as expensive as the Autotechnic. The Autotechnic one was around, I think it was like $850, $800 or so, which is actually on the lower end for a lip for these cars. But for me, that was one of the more expensive lips I've ever paid for a car. And it's held up very well. But as I mentioned, scraping it, it kind of hurts. At least the first time I scraped it, it definitely hurt. This one, I won't be as upset if it does scrape. But this is a bigger lip in terms of the overall depth of it. or the height I should say. So we'll see how this one holds up. But what I'm actually going to do in this video before we get them on is I want to take the time and actually ceramic coat them. So if you guys know me and you guys have seen all the cars that are ceramic coated and parts, you guys know that I'm a really big fan of G-Technic CSL and the XO combo. I think it looks fantastic. It really honestly looks like a wax, but it holds up like a ceramic. I always like the look of wax, so having something like this that lasts a long time and also can withstand over the years and years of washes and weather and what have you, and still look good and still have the hydrophobic properties kind of hold up over time is a really, really good thing. So we're going to be doing one coat of G-Technic CSL, which is Crystal Serum Light. Then we're going to be doing one coat of XO V5. XO V4 is the old generation. You had to do 2 coats of it, but V5, you only have to do 1 coat, which is nice. So we're going to go ahead and get these coated up. I'm going to show you how to do it, show you the process that I do. And then probably in another video, we're going to get to installing them and getting them off the car and getting the new ones on. Before we get going, I wanted to get some feedback on this. Now, the OEM M Performance splitters from the factory, or sorry, from BMW, this is an OEM option that you can get, but the dealers actually install them once the cars are delivered to them, once they're ordered from Germany. These are actually glued on. It's not just the normal double-sided tape. These are the, I forget what it's called, but the Dura Perma Glue or something, I forget what it's called, but you can kind of see it seeping through there. So it's not the easiest thing to remove. And I've heard it's kind of a pain in the butt to remove because obviously I don't want to destroy the paint. I don't want to destroy the bumper. So if anybody has any recommendations or how to get this off without damaging anything, let me know. I really don't care if I end up breaking the splitter because I have replacements. But it would be nice to be able to pull this off and maybe refinish it or something one day or hold on to them if I have spares. I don't know. But let me know if you guys have any recommendation. I was just going to use some heat it up a lot and then get some pry tools, plastic pry tools, and try to get it off. But I'm kind of not looking forward to doing that. So if anybody has any recommendations or advice of how to get that off, let me know. All right, so the first thing that you actually want to do is clean up the part that you're going to ceramic coat. So what I use is just some IPA. Make sure all the oils and grease and dirt and what have you that may be on here is completely off. I'm going to go ahead and do that, wipe that down, and then we can start on the CSL coating. All right, so here we go. Here is the bottle of CSL. As you can see, I have about a half a bottle left since I did my car. So we got plenty left to be able to do this and a bunch more. Probably not enough to do an entire car. I planned on doing my truck. Eventually, I've been telling myself to do that for years, but definitely enough to get small parts done like this. So usually I like using the cloth applicators that you use on the block, but for intricate and smaller parts like this, I just use the pad that's provided in the kit. So here's CSL. We're going to go ahead and open it up and use a little provided dropper. And we're simply just going to get some in the dropper and then just coat the pad not too heavily, but enough that it's going to give a nice even coating like that. And I like to close it up a little bit. I have knocked this over before. I actually had it on video once. So I like to close it up. But all we're going to do is simply just wipe it on like so. Just go around. You can kind of see the wavy. It just looks like you're kind of wiping oil onto the part, and you just want to get some nice even coverage all around. Make sure you go back over a few times so you get it nice and coated. It's kind of a weird part to coat, but let me hold it like that. Just make sure you go over it a few times to make sure you got nice even coverage. Getting all the corners and everything, the front. All right, so we got that one done. We're gonna wait 1 to 2 minutes and we'll wipe it off. But in the meantime, I'm actually going to put some more on here and do the other one while I'm waiting for this one to kind of haze over a little bit. You don't want to wait too long because you don't want it to get sticky, but you want it to kind of cure just a little bit. So let's go ahead and do the other one. This is the passenger side. So same process. Sorry, trying to get you some good angles, but I'm getting at a camera here out of focus, or out of the shot, I should say. So same thing, even coverage. Go back over it a few times to make sure it's nice and even. You don't want to have any high spots or low spots. Just want a nice even coverage of everything. Alright, so it's been about 2 minutes or so, and as you can kind of see, it's flashing a little bit. It almost looks like little droplets like that. So now is a good time to wipe it off. I have some dedicated ceramic coating towels that I always use. These are actually pretty cheap. They're like $1 something. Really thin ply microfiber. I don't like thick ply ones. I forget the GFA or GAF. I forget what it's called for microfibers, but I like the really thin ones because it doesn't get stuck as you're pulling on it. And I usually dispose of these because ceramic is basically a thin layer of glass. So once it dries on the towels, I don't like to reuse them because it could possibly scratch parts that I am ceramic coating or correcting, like a car if I'm doing it. So I usually dispose of these after about 1 or 2 uses. So I know it seems pretty wasteful, but they're pretty cheap and I'd rather be safer than sorry. So I have a bunch of these on hand. I'll put a link below for these with everything else, obviously, but let's go ahead, wipe it down. Then we're gonna go ahead and move on to the lip and do the same thing as CSL and wait a little bit and we can move on to EXO. Alright, so we got these splitters all coated. Now we're going to jump over to the actual lip and get that coated. But before we jump on to EXO, we actually need to wait 1 to 2 hours for the CSL to fully cure. Well, not fully cure, but cure on the part before we move over to this step. It's kind of a long process. I know a lot of people usually like doing ceramic coatings that are only 1 step, but I promise you, doing these 2 steps, it makes it so much better. CSL is really great. It hardens very well. It lasts a long time. But the EXO is kind of the cherry on top. This is what makes it look like wax and super deep and glossy. And this is what keeps the ceramic coating fresh and new. And also keeps up with the hydrophobic properties as well. So it's a lengthy process in terms of getting all this done, but it's 100% worth it. I mean, my car, I did the whole entire thing. I did it on my STI as well, and it's amazing. I love this product. So if you're gonna put in the time to do this, I highly recommend doing these 2 steps. As I mentioned, the old V4, you had to do 2 layers of it, so it was about 6 hours of wait time between all this. So I usually did it over the course of 2 to 3 days, so I wasn't rushing through it. But yeah, so we're gonna let that cure for at least an hour, and then we're gonna hop on to EXO. But first, let's go over, clean this up with IPA, get this all cleaned up, and then we can coat it with CSL, wait the 1 to 2 hours, and jump on EXO at the same time. So it's been about 2 minutes or so. You can kind of see it starting to kind of flash like that. You can see it right on there. So now it's time to wipe everything off and let this cure for at least an hour before we move over to EXO. All right, guys, front lip is done. So again, we're gonna wait at least an hour for that to cure. Splitters are done. Gotta wait an hour for that to cure. You can wait up to 2 hours. After 2 hours, it doesn't make any difference. So I'll probably just wait an hour so I can get this knocked out. But I mean, you can already tell just how much deeper the gloss and depth is already, and it hasn't even cured. And the garage is pretty warm tonight. I got the fan on. It's like 90 degrees in here, so it's gonna cure nice overnight in here and really look amazing tomorrow. But let me go ahead and I'm gonna take a little break, come back out here in about an hour or 2, and then we can throw on the layer of EXO. All right, guys, so it's been about an hour and a half I don't want it to get too late. I wanted to get this knocked out. So we did an hour and a half, which is plenty. They say an hour to 2 hours is good enough. So we're going to move on to the XO V5 stage. Same exact concept. As you can see, I have about a quarter bottle left since I ended up doing 2 coats on my car. You don't need to do 2, but I decided to do it just for extra protection and gloss and longevity. But we're only going to do 1 layer on here. So same process. This one actually has a dropper already on the bottle, so you don't need to use a little droplet that one's included with. So we're just going to do the same thing. Wipe it on, wait for it to kind of rainbow and flash a little bit, then wipe it off. We're going to do the same thing on the lip that we got over here. And hopefully in a couple weeks or so, a couple videos, we'll be able to get this on the car, show you the process and everything and how to do it. I've already showed you how to do this lip, but I figured I might as well show you how I install all this as well. So let's go ahead, let's get this layer knocked out, and then we'll show the final results. Alright guys, everything is all finished up. We got 1 layer of CSL and 1 layer of XO V5 on there. Turned out beautiful. The gloss and depth is insane. Now the great thing about ceramic is as it cures for the next 12 to 24 hours, the depth and gloss is just going to get deeper and deeper. So if you guys think this looks amazing now, just wait until tomorrow. It's pretty insane. I love this stuff so much. But usually I like to wait and coat things when they're on the car, but since I had some downtime, I figured I would get this done so all I can do is focus on the install and not be so focused on getting it protected and ceramic coated and everything. I figured I would just take my time and get this step done first, and then we can move on to the install next. But as I mentioned, I'm kind of a little hesitant to take that thing off because I really don't want to dive too far into it and kind of be SOL and not really sure how it's going to go. So again, if anybody has any advice, let me know. I'm even thinking about going to my shop to see if they have any advice or kind of know-how how to get that done, because I just want to get it done, get it knocked out. I know it's a super simple install, but you know, maybe they've dealt with it before. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but either way, I'm happy it's done. I'm happy it's coated. I'm happy everything looks really, really great. So yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here, but I'm gonna leave a link below for the ceramic coating as well as the towels and everything that I use in this video. So if you're looking to ceramic coat your car parts, whether they're carbon fiber or you're going to ceramic coat the entire car, you can do so with the G-Technic CSL and XO V5 and get it knocked out. So if you guys are curious about the whole entire detail of the car, of ceramic coating it, I have a whole series on that, so you can check that out if you want to. But I'm gonna wrap it up here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Really looking forward to all the mods coming in and, you know, doing more to this car and making it more my own and enjoying it even more. So if you guys have any questions at all, be sure to ask them below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.